Good afternoon, everybody. Today is May the 20th of 2024. It is Game 7 between the Canucks and the Oilers. And it is perhaps the last day that I have to make a video about all the fun updates to my Canuck Tracker spreadsheet that I've been maintaining this whole season. As you can see, version 5.1 of the sheet now shows on this game day sheet the number of playoff wins you've had in a series against the other team, in addition to all the other fun stuff it used to show. The game calendar, that's unchanged from before. Game data, that's also unchanged. The Canucks roster now accounts for goals, assists, game-winning goals, and game-winning assists in the playoffs as well. The Canuck goals sheet, if we scroll down through the entire 82-game season, all of this being manual data entry, also contains playoff goals now, showing all the fun goals we've had throughout the playoffs. And I know there are some errors on the bottom you can see here, but that's just data stuff relating to me debugging that things worked in terms of rounds the Canucks haven't played in yet. Here's the playoff game data showing all the playoff games, and that pulls out of other playoff games here, which shows all the different playoff series, and this provides data for the playoff bracket and for the playoff pictogram, that shows all the different teams and how many wins in the playoffs they've had out of the potential 16 it takes to win the cup. So here we've got the analyst predictions. My formula for Brendan Morrison, who's my own addition to this sheet, is not correct because that should read false, but I haven't bothered to fix it. I've been so focused on, are we going to win this? Can we win this? Here's the playoff record logos as before. If you've seen any of my other videos about this, you've seen that previously. It's not any different. The team record logos. Monthly is just a bunch of helper columns, so we don't really have to look at it. This other games and all scores, that's how I was entering data about non-Canuck games this season, simply because the all scores was sort of stapled on mid-season. I have a better way of doing it for next year in next year's file that I've sort of started already making the skeleton of. We've got a league leaders sheet here, same as before, and expanding the ties. The point totals division and the standings, that pulls into the lead ranking, which helps to generate the playoff bracket, which gets its win and loss data from the other playoff games sheet, which allows for the population of this bracket. Divisions, that's just where you keep all the logos. The win-loss graph is kind of neat. Win takes you up 1, loss takes you down 1. Overtime loss is no change. It's labeled with the team names because you can't use logos for that. So I did this sort of a hack thing where I made one with logos, and then I did a hack where I sort of got the graph to show logos through some overlaying a graph onto here and some transparency. I've suggested to Google that they allow a column of images as data labels in a graph, but we'll see if and when that happens. Here's the games played graph. Obviously, all hundreds now because the season is over, or the regular season, that is. Comparing us with the big name Canuck seasons and with last season by wins and losses, by points, the maximum number of points that a team could possibly earn in the season. And then we have some goals and assists charts showing our team and our leader, how he compares to the league leader. For points, goals, and assists. For just goals, how Boeser compares to Matthews. Same, I have one for assists. How Hughes compares with McDavid. This is the Hughes record chart. This year, Quinn Hughes passed Dennis Kearns, Jyrki Lumme, Matthias Ohlund on his way to becoming second overall all-time in Canucks defensemen for points at under half the number of games that Edler played. By the end of next season, if all goes well for Quinn Hughes, he should surpass Alexander Edler as number one all-time in Canucks points by a defenseman. The goal graph and assist graph data are just data for something I was going to try, which looked like this, which I didn't end up making the assist one because this was kind of ugly looking, but it shows players' goals as the season progresses, and you can see there are some like stretches here where Boeser was without goals. This is the notable season point data and all of that. This animated graph, you can't animate it if you view the link to the sheet because it uses my macro, and I don't believe Google will let you run my macro, but it just basically updates like this, and you can animate and see the entire season progress. So I'm a little stressed for Game 7 here, but I must admit I have the same feeling today as I had on Game 7 of Round 1 against Chicago in 2011. I don't have that same feeling that I had on Game 7 of the finals against Boston. Game 7 of the finals, I felt like there was probably no way we were going to win it. After the performance they had in Game 6, it was not likely. But with this team, the perseverance and the nobody said we should be here. Nobody said we should be in the playoffs. Nobody said we should win our division. Nobody said we should make round 2. Nobody said we could push the Oilers to 7 games. Nobody. Well, Ryan S. Clark excluded. I mean, Ryan S. Clark said the Canucks would win in 7 games. So, cross your fingers for our savior, Ryan S. Clark. But yeah, that's the animated graph. And then we have a one-team comparison here comparing Vancouver to Edmonton. So I'm going to watch the game tonight, and whatever happens, it happens. I would laugh hard if we embarrass McDavid and Draisaitl at the sadness of all my Oiler fan friends. But if the Oilers beat us, congratulations to them. I hope that it all works out for them should they win, and for us should we win. Let's go against Dallas. And if Dallas does do what some people are saying and stomp either Edmonton or Vancouver easily, at least Chris Tanev gets a chance at a cup. Because I love Chris Tanev. He was such a great player when we had him, and I would love to have him back if he would come back, and if he would come back on a deal that was feasible cap-wise. So anyways, that is what might end up being the last video on my tracker. I am going to keep filling it in with playoff data regardless of if the Canucks are in or not, because I do want to have a complete, I filled in all 82 games for all 32 teams all season long. And why would I give up as soon as my team gets out? That would just be being a quitter. And I'm not a quitter. So here's to hoping we win tonight. Let's go.